Yes, a very good afternoon once again. Thank you so much for keeping it UBC TV, and welcome back from the break. It's lunchtime news. We are winding up with this brief interview, but it will not leave you the same way. Now, we've all heard of the phenomenon of financial inclusion, but what does it entail and what does it mean exactly? I have a gentleman, a CEO at that, of the HiPipo. We've all had that attached to entertainment and the awards, but they also are the things they do. We will tell us what financial inclusion is all about and how do they come into it. Sir, you're most welcome.
Thank you, sir.
His name is Innocent Kawooya, the CEO, HiPipo. What is financial inclusion?
Well, financial inclusion can be defined in very many ways and aspects, but to a layman like me, financial inclusion is about extending financial services to individuals and businesses. Businesses can be formal or informal. In this digital era, when we talk about financial inclusion, and from HiPipo, a tech company, we talk about financial inclusion in ways of extending financial services by making use of technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Presence of money at every point where there are people.
And not just a presence of money, but the presence of financial services. For example, is one able to save money? Is one able to borrow money?
Send, receive?
Is able to receive? Are they able to have insurance services? Are they able to check their balances and access them anytime? And that is a trend that has grown so much over the last years, over the last 10 years, thanks to mobile financial services, and specifically what we call mobile money. Yeah.
How would you rate financial inclusion in Uganda? How would you rate it?
Well, how I would rate is I would say, for example, like the last statement I just made, from HiPipo, a HiPipo perspective, and from Digital Impact Awards Africa, an organization and a project that has been aggregating financial inclusion over the last 8 years, there's been a very amazing growth in the space. For example, financial inclusion is more about just having the access to financial services, but rather the value that comes with the inclusion. And I'll tell you, for example, we did a research on the time-saving capacity of mobile financial services, which has since featured in the GSMA State of Mobile Money Report for 3 years now. That's a global report of mobile financial services. And when we wanted to find out about the time-saving capacity of mobile money, we wanted us, the users, and everybody to understand the value that there is in using mobile financial services, mobile banking, mobile money, and all that. And we found out that in Uganda alone, people, over 5 million people, save at least 11 million hours every month because of using mobile financial services. For example, if somebody wants to pay for water at National Water and they don't have to move into a queue and get into a taxi and move to any office and pay for their bills.
So there is a growth in that?
There is a very huge growth.
What do you think explains it?
What explains it right now, I would say, is technology. And I'll tell you, maybe it's one of the reasons why we have projects like Digital Impact Awards Africa. Because the existence of operators and banks and fintechs has had a very great impact on what financial inclusion is like. For example, by the time we started speaking about mobile money, we had less than 4 million bank accounts in Uganda. Today, the entire financial inclusion ecosystem, including banks and operators in telecom, we brag with more than 23 million accounts. And that's just about 10 years, yeah? And it's not just in Uganda. It's a trend that has been everywhere around Africa.
It's
and because of something we do as Digital Impact Awards Africa as a project, we do research all around the continent. And technology and mobile has changed so much of the way we do financial inclusion around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think can be done to support this project or wave of financial inclusion in areas where there are still gaps, especially when you look at the rural areas, when you look at areas where this technological advancement has not yet been embraced? What do you think has to be done to boost
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, for example, from an aspect of digital impact out Africa, because we do research, we don't actually just say we think, but we've found out and we've advised operators,
You authoritatively speak with facts.
Yeah. We
That
speak
is more
with
beautiful,
facts
actually.
that we don't just think, but we need to work together as producers of devices, operators in telecom, the banks and regulators, and get to have access of more devices at any point. For example, when you talk about USSD technology, it is accessible by anyone that has a mobile device, like any phone. Yeah?
Yes.
But I mean, thing is, for example, the government has done so much, and the story of financial inclusion, because I didn't start from there, anywhere in the world starts with a story of digital inclusion, and that's where at HiPipo we started. We started by sensitizing people to use devices and internet, yeah, because you cannot do mobile money when you don't have a phone, for example. So before we even talk about mobile banking, because you're talking about mobile banking, but someone needs to know how to do a star 165
How to
hash,
carry on the
you know.
transaction.
They need to know something to start with. So sensitization has to be done, and it has to be very strategic and smart. For example, there are some isolated numbers of people operating a lot of business around cross borders, around the borders of Uganda. Uganda operates about 40 official borders and 100 plus unofficial borders. And every single day, women cross borders, every single day, from a research that we carried out as Digital Impact House Africa. So we found out that more than 111,000 women every single year across the borders and sell. They operate with more than $1 million every single month. But this money is not in the ecosystem. Like, you cannot easily track it, simply because maybe we're not even taking the initiative to have these people have phones, for example. You've heard of products, for example, like M-Copper, an initiative where people access solar devices and they pay in installments using mobile money. You've heard of that, yeah? And that comes with so much value, like you get a credit, you get power, and then you're able to also pay using the same kind of system, you know. So maybe our governments, our operators should also invest more in getting into these markets and get them to maybe access funds on credit, basic funds. Yeah.
As HiPipo, how we know you into entertainment and awards. How do you again go into awards? Sorry, into financial inclusion?
Well, HiPipo gets into financial inclusion for one reason. We started the digital evolution in Uganda more than anybody else.
Really?
Yeah.
How old are you?
How old am I doesn't matter.
Not you.
As
not you, as HiPipo.
We are 14 years. And
is that how old digital?
No, digital is not just 14 years.
Yes, thank you.
But the revolution we started was the real drive that made corporates come and embrace digital. For example, I'll tell you for a fact and for free that when we carried out a research, our first research of digital inclusion, looking at the top 1,000 taxpayers in Uganda and trying to assess their web presence in 2008, yeah, only 30% of corporate organizations and the top 1,000 taxpayers in Uganda had web access, like having a website. Yeah.
Okay.
2 years after our first research, because some came quarreling and arguing and having negative statements about our report, but it was true, and we wanted them to embrace. So 2 years after that, more than 77% of those organizations had websites. Today, every one of them has not just a website, but they have amazing social media presence. They have customer service on social media. They use mobile to communicate with their
So
customers.
there is a connection with all that and financial inclusion.
And that's, I would say, without any fear, that our input had so much to do with that kind of...
I just have a second for the two of us to leave this set. What would be your message to a Ugandan watching you?
Well, my message to the Ugandan, first of all, I salute everybody that is taking on the revolution, the digital revolution, because it's amazing and it's the way to go. But I'll tell you and everybody that the businesses, the operators, the banks, and everyone, there is so much to gain by using technology to serve ourselves. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and thanks for watching me and UBC.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kawooya Innocent, the CEO of HiPipo. That is all we had for you this afternoon. Let's catch you in our other programs. Bye-bye.